All right, guys, I finally fixed this fucking audio problem. I just had to uninstall the Chrome extension and reinstall it. So, if you guys don't know, I tried to make like 4 videos last week, and as soon as I would get done with them, I would play them and I would hear the audio just wrecked. All of them wrecked. All the audios were fucking wrecked. I had to scrape like really good videos. 2 of them were really good, like some of the best stuff I've recorded, and then I couldn't throw them up there. So now that this is fixed, I'm going to do a market review right now, Bitcoin, and then I'm going to go through those other 3 videos and make notes of what I talked about and put them in because they were more like split with between teaching some shit and what was going on in the market. But yeah, let's get into Bitcoin. Okay, so um, Bitcoin, people are freaking out. People are thinking this is the end, and it could not be. It could be the beginning of something much fucking bigger. And I'm going to explain both these scenarios. And also, I'm going to explain how to trade this market if we are going down. I'm giving 2 scenarios. One scenario is that we keep going up. Another scenario is that we go even deeper. You know what I'm trying to say? So I'm gonna show you guys how to make money in both those scenarios and what to look for if we do enter those scenarios a lot. And I'm gonna keep continuing to make videos as Bitcoin progresses. So if you want to know what's happening throughout these moves, subscribe to the channel. And yeah, so let's just get right into it. So I'm gonna start off with this fib. This fib is basically the bottom of pre-SegWit, because after SegWit, this thing just went crazy. And we hit the top of 20 from 18 to 26, and now we kind of are staying above this fib level. And I expect us to go up a bit more. And what I'm looking for is this specifically. It's this pattern. Let's go to a 4-hour for it. Let's go 3 months. Yes, this is exactly the pattern I'm looking for. I'm looking to see if this is the fractal that is going to be paid out right now, because this move down here is ironic because Bitcoin had just taken off around the 5,000s. It broke the parabolic line and it went above it, and we hit 7,800 and we sold down massively, and everybody thought this thing was going to go to 3,000, 2,000 area. But what it did was it made a bullish double bottom, and a bullish double bottom is when it hits the bottom, it comes up, and then the second point matches above the first level, right? So what this means is that people came and bought this market, and then before it could even double bottom, somebody stepped in front of it and bought as much as he could, and then the price continued up. And what happened from there is that we created a triangle, right? We created this triangle. I gotta get rid of this. We created a triangle pattern such as this. Yeah, we created we went up, we created a triangle, and then we broke out of it. And then we made our way up to 20 eventually. We had dips along the way, but we got up here. And then once we got up here, we had a major dip. CME futures went live around here, and then we started to try to make a move up, but there was too much selling pressure, shorting pressure. Now, what's ironic is that the top of this area where everybody thought was the top was the bottom of this. We had a gap, and that gap got filled to a T perfectly. Like perfectly. Like, yeah, that thing got filled perfectly. Yeah. So this much is corrected. Now, from here, we could be creating, what's it called? A descending triangle, And this would be the bear scenario. This would be Bitcoin has maxed out, crypto has maxed out, potentially, unless there's like a Ethereum flip or whatnot. And from here, we would attempt to move up, potentially outside of here, hitting the 15 area, and then having a fake breakout, and then we're zooming down here, and then we could break this trend down more, right? So this is another scenario. This is more of a bearish scenario. You know what I mean? So that is that. Now, that 15 area falls between the 50 and the 618 fib. This is going to be a lot of selling pressure up here. This is going to be a lot of selling pressure up here. And Bitcoin is going to have a hard time to get back up here. If we look at volume profile, yeah, I mean, it can get up to this level, to 10,000, right? Pretty easily, which I do. Like, if you're holding and you were like selling down here, it was retarded, because we were going to get a bounce eventually. And I see us, if we do follow that same fractal as before, right? That fractal would give us about a triangle. It would be the same as this area if we are following this fractal with the double bottom and the sell down, and we're continuing up. So this is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting the price to go up, hit some resistance at 5 figures, and start making higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. Like the pressure, the buying support starts coming in underneath it. I really don't think that we are going to just go like, again yet. I don't see that. I think we will try to breathe a bit, because true say, like, on these higher time frames, we're really oversold, like that was the bottom of the last one, and now we just bottomed out here too. And there seems to be the Stoch just kind of picking itself out, so it could be a slow grind around here, but I see this thing trying to make a move up. I'm really confident that I'm holding my alts, and Bitcoin in general is kind of designed to fool people. So I mean, I see like a lot of really good traders that are holding, that are buying. You know what I mean? Then I see a lot of people that aren't really considered good traders, like out of the game, or thinking about selling at this bottom. So that is one. And I'm also looking for this, if we're in a bearish scenario, I could see us having a fake breakout over here, and then continuing down this descending wedge. And that is pretty much the bearish scenario. And the bearish scenario will take us, if we don't hold this level, like I'm 100% sure we will go to 4,600, like this gap right over here. Just like how I told you, we filled the top of here. We need to do, we need to do the same up here. See, we need to come down and touch this 4,900 level. I'm confident that if this doesn't hold, we will go down lower, and we could even go down lower than that if we want to. If we're on a mission to correct the whole chart, it's possible, depending on how bad it gets, to go down to that 1,300 level too. That's worst case, absolute worst case scenario. And I'm not leaning towards that scenario, because fundamentally things are on the up and up for Bitcoin and crypto. There's too many projects. There's too many like ICOs selling out. There's ETFs coming. There's futures contracts. There's just so many things going for it. It's not like fucking the news headlines are like people with crypto are, I don't know, something crazy that just fucks the market up. It's just, to me, this is manipulation. This is, why would somebody sell so many Bitcoin here? You know what I mean? Like, These things just don't make sense. As the price was starting to recover, somebody just dumps a shitload of Bitcoin. You wouldn't do that. Like, how? Why would somebody with so much Bitcoin just dump it like that in like at the worst time? Like, you're dumping it. Like, if you have that much Bitcoin, you know that you can get it a little. You can get out a little bit higher. Why would you like purposely dump it in these areas? And to me, it's just straight manipulation. And one more thing to note is that if we aren't going back up, right, and we are in a downtrending uh, bear market, right, I would say we could do something like like this, potentially, and then start a new market cycle, because this would be the 88.3 fib. And where did I measured this one from the bottom at 919. Basically, while we were fine, we found strong support here, and then we started to make this crazy run up, with the gap and everything. So I would say this would be the absolute bottom. This zone right here. So 31,491. I'm gonna write that down. Oh. This is if we're not going up, right? So I'm going to give you both scenarios. I basically explained to you we're going down scenario, what it would be like. I would imagine these areas would be resistance levels and the price would bounce around. This could be a top even. This could be a top, or this could be a top. And let's talk about if this is not a bearish, if this is actually a bear trap. So for a bear trap, what I'm looking at is okay, let me change this color. So that is the line. We are on the daily. We have gone down, closed above it, opened the other candle, and now we're pushing above it. I expect us today to close above this. If this goes below, it's not good. I feel like, though, we will go up and we will continue to chop it up and eat at the cells and see what goes on. However, so I'm redrawing things, so it might look a little opposite. Yeah, and the other scenario is a crazy scenario, which is we were just ramping up. This was ramp 1, this was ramp 2, and then we have made our first wave of a 3-wave Elliott on a big picture, on $100,000 picture. This is the next bigger move that I'm laying out here. So what would happen is that we have the price come down here. What is it was from here. The first fib I showed you. Sorry. So this was the SegWit. At the beginning of the video, I talked about SegWit activation. I had that fib drawn, the same fib. drawing it again, we come down, we tag the 618, right? So what you would say here is, actually, I'm gonna flip this around. Sorry. All right, so you would take a wave structure such as, then this one could go higher. Something up on a bigger frame. Like this was just the first level. I don't need to redraw. I have to redraw this. This is the other. This is the fractal that was similar to the fractal we're playing out now. I just want to see how the fibs match up. So we get a 58,000 area. Um, yeah, something like this could get really crazy when you move up to 28. I don't know how it would play out with the fibs, but that's the second scenario. The second scenario is that we are just making wave one of a bigger three wave set, and this was just a ramp up. Like the people that bought in around 1,000 and 3,000, 4, 5,000, that will be like smart money, right? And then people here are just like the same thing that happens in every wave structure is that people buy up here and then they end up getting fucked because the price moves against them. They don't buy at the beginning of the wave. And why I'm more leaning towards this bullish scenario is a lot of it has to do with just the fundamentals of crypto. I feel like crypto is still very, very hot. I feel like nothing really fundamentally brought this down. A lot of it was FUD. It was Tether FUD. It was government FUD. It was North Korean FUD. It was all kinds of shit, right? Just and piled on top of each other so strategically at key levels. You would see FUD get released and then stop losses would be activated. And it's just, I mean, for me personally, I've been in crypto for a while now, so I've experienced these drops before. Like this was probably my calmest drop like ever. I was just like, okay, whatever. And I just understand like this is part of the game. Like idiots have to lose. Like these people had to lose. Um, it just I knew it from back here more or less. Like the people that were messaging me on my Facebook to buy Bitcoin were some of like the dumbest friends that I have. You know, I'm trying to say up here. So like those guys never get it right in life about anything. They're gonna get fucking investment advice. They're gonna buy something that's overextended to this point with a 98, 96 RSI and what there's all of a sudden they're the smart ones. Of course not. You know, so I was expecting this shakeout. You know what I mean? And I see the people now that were never good traders who are kind of like quitting and giving up. Like it's crazy how people are actually quitting. Like you can hear it and you can see it in their actions. Like they're giving up. They're deciding, oh, trading's not for me. I only want markets that just keep going up and keep going up. That's the only markets I want to invest in. That's what some people think. You know, they don't know how to deal with this cycle of loss, and they're gonna make the wrong decisions. And who they are a year from now is gonna look back and hate themselves for maybe not buying this dip. You know, a lot of you are gonna be like, "Fuck, I didn't buy this dip. I should have bought that dip." Right now, you don't think that. Right now, this seems like the stupidest idea in the world, but a year from now, it might not be the stupidest idea in the world. this buying up here was the stupidest idea in the world. Definitely. Like, I seen the madness when it got to this level. People refinancing their homes and just buying on credit cards and just really just ruining themselves. Um, but yeah, I mean, this isn't the end. I don't think it's the end of the. It's definitely not the end of the world. And I just, for Bitcoin to die, which it would be a massive bear cycle to go bear market to go all the way down. I think fundamentally things have to change more. Like, we never even hit 1 trillion market cap. We were easily going to pass 1 trillion market cap, But in the meantime, this could very well be reaccumulation. This is when big whales buy slowly, buy slowly, buy slowly. They buy just enough to like stay above these lines that everyone's playing and watching, but just still small enough so that the price doesn't jump too high. You know what I mean? And then they accumulate under 10,000. Then eventually they'll accumulate under 12,000, 11,000, whatever. And then it makes this big move. And what happens is people say, fuck, I should have bought down here, or fuck, I shouldn't have sold here. You know what I'm trying to say? But just the game repeats itself over and over. Like, there's really, the longer you trade, the more you realize, like, it's more of the same shit, just repeating itself over and over. And that's why it's so important as a trader to consistently stick with this, okay? You guys need to understand something. When you guys are new in the game and you got fucked last month or whatever, okay, that's fine. It's not a big deal. Just stay around, because what's happening is that you're getting experience in different markets. You're getting experience in mega bull markets. You're getting experience in bear markets. You're getting experience in bull markets. You're getting experience in mega bear markets, whatever they might be. But what happens is that as you go through them, and as you keep charting, and as you keep making trades with the right trade management, you start to discover patterns that happen in these markets. And what happens is the next time that these patterns emerge, you can make a shitload of money because you understand what's going on and what's about to happen. And you can position yourself ahead of time. So, if for whatever reason you feel like the chat isn't as active as it should be, it shouldn't be. Like, when the price is doing this, you don't want to be trading all day. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, your best bet sometimes is, selling your shit in 25% lots and waiting for these gaps. Like, these things, with time, they play themselves out. And, if you look back at all the Bitcoin you had in alts or whatnot, and had you have just taken out your principal and had you cashed some of that principal out along the way, or even along up here, you would have a lot. Like, anyone who sold the top has over doubled the Bitcoin right now that they're supposed to have. And all they had to do for the last month is go on a vacation. Like, you literally could have gone, you could have done nothing. You know what I mean? From the 17th to basically yesterday. So for 45 days, you could have done fuck all. You know what I mean? And bought gaps and or whatever it could be. And yes, this is hindsight trading, but what I'm trying to show you is that you get experience. And a lot of you, next time these big moves happen, you're not going to hold it. And when the dumb people come and all the situations and scenarios come of that market, you know what I mean? Like your dumb friends on Facebook messaging you or whatever it might be, you will know, like, I should probably take some profit here. You'll just know, like, certain things happen to trigger these markets, and certain things happen leading up to these markets. And as you continue to stick with this trading, you'll start to notice these trends happening over and over and over. And that's why some of the best guys are just like 50 years old, 60 years old. They're older because they've been through these markets over and over and over, and they see the moves playing themselves out way before everybody else does. So don't give up on yourself now, because you're gonna look back and really kick yourself in the ass. I think if this thing continues, it's gonna be crazy. If this thing continues, this was nothing, and I believe that we are just gonna, I think we're just gonna go, because just fundamentally, there's a lot of things coming up. You got taxes coming up in April, and you got all these projects being built. It's getting more mainstream. More ICOs are selling out, pre-private sales that are getting sold out, and I just feel like everything's there for a turnaround, and I feel like this was just manipulation. And one more thing to note also is that if this thing does do make a new market cycle, I could see between March and May this thing turning around, because just how this market was accelerated, this one would be. I think the down bear trend would last like, I think, 4 to 8 weeks, something around there. And you have to remember something, that when you play Elliott waves, you can have Elliott waves going up, right? But you can also have them going down, which are called reverse waves. And just like regular Elliots, you know, they play out the same way but going down. And if this thing goes up to, like, say, the 15 area, 14, 15, sorry, yeah, around there. The third wave is always the biggest wave. Guys, remember that. The third wave is always the biggest wave. So this thing could come down to the 3,000 zone or whatnot, you know. But I'm leaning for this to be a big fake, a big confusing the market, um, manipulation, and I think this whole $50,000 Bitcoin and eventually $100,000 Bitcoin, it could be a reality. This 5-6 trillion market cap crypto, I think it's a reality, and I've just been through so many of these kinds of, call them corrections or whatnot, that this one, for the most part, feels similar to the other ones. You know, it feels like that to me personally, and I'm going to play Bitcoin to around this level and start to hedge my positions with some cash and potentially buy Bitcoin if it goes above these areas, just for the insurance reasons. I would like to protect myself, because if this thing doesn't go up, I'm probably just going to go on a vacation for a month, to be honest. Motorcycle somewhere in India. Because what happens is that in a bear market, you can still trade bear markets. But bear markets, you have to kind of understand that you don't have to actively be trading. You need to, on a bull market, I'm looking at my Bitcoin value, right? I want to have the most Bitcoin value as possible, because the more Bitcoin I have, the more USD I have. But in a bear market, you just want to be worried about your USD, because more USD in a bear market will always equal more Bitcoin. But more Bitcoin in a bear market will not equal more USD. You know what I'm trying to say? So if this market is bear and I'm selling out around here, I'm looking to just lay a bid around 4,700 and chill and relax and let the move play itself out. You know what I mean? Let it play itself out and cover this gap. You know what I mean? And if this doesn't hold, you want to look to reduce your exposure and buy it again lower. Because if I put 10 say I have $10,000 here, right? I have 2 Bitcoin, then Bitcoin goes up, to say $7,000. I have $14,000 now. I want to take that 14,000, and then I want to reinvest it a bit lower. Let's say, this 3,000 area. So then I'll have 4 or 5 Bitcoin, right? I'm just using small numbers to keep it simple. So if I have 5 Bitcoin from here at 14,000, then when Bitcoin goes up, I'm going up 5x. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's how you would trade the bear market. You'd be more focused on your USD. Or another thing, if you're comfortable with it, you just want to short your Bitcoin around these levels. Once we get to these levels, if you want to take a risk, you can put money on Bitcoin to go down and short the market. Now, we'd have to see what happens along here, and I would look at some other people's analysis as well. But yeah, these are basically how you would want to play those bear markets. Bear markets, you want to preserve your USD and play major support. You can play support in the form of those ass crack candles that I showed you guys. That whenever you see a groove, right? Whenever you see a groove like there, right there, 4,600. See how it grooves this candle with this candle on the weekly? The higher the time frame, the better. Those are strong support areas. Look, we had one here, and boom, we nailed it to a T. We nailed it at 8,000. So these candlesticks, they work. They work really well. And in a bear market, I want to put my money on these major parts. You know what I'm trying to say? And then I just want to relax and chill and enjoy my life, because the more you fuck around and the more you try to buy in between these gaps, the price will go against you, and you just want to be patient and play support levels if we're trending downwards in a downtrend. But the downtrend, I would think it wouldn't take more than 4 to 8 weeks if it happens. But so far, everything is pointing to up in the short term. In the short term, I'm confident that this thing is going to attempt to break 10,000, and I think it'll get above it and push up to these levels. And I think if we are headed down, what will happen is that the price will go up. People all here will chase it, and then that liquidity comes into the market, and then the whales sell into the liquidity, and the price goes down. So, I mean, from here to take it to 15 would be another 100% move. Take it to 14, whatever it might be. But yeah, it's a good move for whoever can play the market into this zone to sell into. So yeah, guys, that's the video. Hope you liked it. Like and subscribe. I'm just looking at my sheet to see. Yeah, I pretty much covered everything. I'm going to put a link below to the Facebook group. I'm putting a link below to the free ICO group. We held an ICO the other day, our Arcopolis, and we raised over 200 Ethereum. And I'm planning on getting more ICOs, pre-sale, private sales, like, stuff you can't find anywhere. Only the good ones, you know what I'm trying to say? And make sure you play ICOs, the ICOs that are coming up, because you're going to get a lot of ROI on some of these ones that are coming up. There's a lot of hype behind them, and they're selling out. They're not even going into the market before they sell out. So think long term. Play Ethereum and use that Ethereum to invest in ICOs. And if we are headed in a bear trend, I would keep cash and I would just buy cheap Ethereum and invest in ICOs that are coming up in a day or two, or just buy them at that time whenever you want it. But preserve your USD if we're going down. Don't sell right now. Let it bounce a bit. And then if you want to exit. I'll be making more videos frequently now that I fixed this audio issue. Thanks. Thumbs up, like, subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys later.